let's take a look and see what is in my camera bag this year in 2025. I'm also going to be packing with you for a quick photography trip this weekend that I'm going on. So I'll be walking you through exactly what gear I'm taking, why I'm taking it, and what I'm leaving behind. And then I'll also show you exactly how I set my camera bag up as well. All right, let's dive in. It would probably be rude not to kick things off with a camera or two. And first on the list is, surprise, surprise, the Sony a7C Mark II. This camera I've been using for both photo and maybe like 60% of my video needs recently. The power in this camera, the quality of the images and the video coming out of this guy are incredible. It's full frame, super lightweight as well. So all in all, this is a no-brainer camera for me because I'm always on the move, moving around. I'm always run and gun as fast as possible. So having something small, but that still has incredible image quality is a must for me. So yeah, this guy is first up on the list. Now, second on the list, because I am usually running around with two cameras, is my Sony ZV-E1 filming this video. This guy, unfortunately, is more or less just living in the studio now and shooting all of my talking head videos and all of the B-roll that you see on this channel as well. Unless it's in the B-roll, then I'm shooting that on the a7C Mark II. But the Sony ZV-E1 is an incredible camera, both for photo and for video. However, there are a few things that I don't particularly love about the ZV-E1. One of those being not having a viewfinder. So this is the a7C II. This guy's got a viewfinder. My Sony ZV-E1 does not have a viewfinder, making it a little bit hard to shoot in super bright lighting conditions when you're trying to get the, just cut out everything. If you've just got to rely on the back screen and you can't put the camera up to your eye, it gets a little bit difficult to shoot. So that's why I've been leaning towards the a7C Mark II a lot. And then of course, it's only got a 13 megapixel sensor versus the a7C Mark II's 33 megapixel sensor. That's why I have been leaving the Sony ZV-E1 at home just a little bit more. I've also found that in the last 12 months, I'm shooting a lot more photo. So that would sort of, push the ZV-E1 to the side just a little bit. However, I do love this camera and it shoots all of my YouTube content. All right, so with my two main camera bodies out of the way, I want to let you in on one other camera that I have recently picked up the battery for. I've had this camera for a little while now, but I haven't been able to get my hands on a genuine battery for a long time, so I haven't actually been able to turn it on, and thankfully, it does work, so that's great news. But either way, this is the Canon G11, and I picked this guy up secondhand at some old camera market, whatever, and it had no battery, so it was a risk. I got this thing for like 20 bucks. It's got an inbuilt flash, which is what I was looking for, and the idea of this camera isn't to go out and take, stunning photos for a professional shoot or whatever the case. It's purely just to capture memories on. I'm treating this almost as like my disposable film camera in my bag that fortunately doesn't shoot film, so all I've got to do is pop the SD card out and I'm ready to go. However, this little guy here is great at capturing memories, life, moments with friends. I haven't taken it out on too many shoots yet, as I literally got the battery maybe about 6 days ago. So while this guy doesn't come with me everywhere, it's definitely a worthwhile mention. With all of the camera bodies out of the way now, let's move on to our lenses. First up on the list is the 24-70 f2.8 from Sigma, of course, with the Sony mount. This is a do-it-all, shoot-it-all kind of lens. I take this lens with me when I just can only take one lens, and that's it. If I'm not taking a bag with me, if my camera's just on a strap and I know that I'll need to be able to shoot wide and somewhat punch in, a little bit telly if you will, I'll be taking this lens. I've shot so much with this guy and I don't plan on putting him down anytime soon, but that does lead me onto a lens that is definitely in hot contention for putting the 24-70 out of work, if you will, is the 50mm 1.4. I've had this guy for about a year now, and I'm extremely happy with the images that come out of this guy. And it's gotta be, the colors look great, the focal length's good, the sharpness is amazing, but it's the 1.4 aperture that really sells this lens for me. I love shooting photo and video with this guy. The autofocus is rock solid. Like if I could only use one lens just for street photography, the 50mm would be it. Now, moving on to probably the newest addition in the camera bag kit is the 70-200 f4 macro Mark II from Sony. Now, I don't really use this lens for the macro capabilities at all. I purely just use this for telephoto work. I hardly shoot any macro stuff, if any. This lets me get right into the action, lets me get some really unique stunning compositions that you otherwise just can't shoot with any other lens. And that's the real reason why I love this lens so much. 70-200, I'm definitely glad you're back in the camera bag. All right, so that wraps up all of my lenses, aside from one last one, and that's the one shooting this video right now. That is the 20mm f1.8, but I really don't take this lens out all that much. Just like the ZV-E1, it lives in the studio about 90% of the time, unless I'm vlogging, which is also pretty rare these days, or unless I know that I'm needing to shoot really wide and with a really low aperture, like if I was shooting Astro or something. Moving on to the drone of choice now, I've actually gone back to my trusty Mavic 3 Classic. Yes, it's bigger, it's heavier, and it only has one focal length. However, I really missed D-Log. I've been shooting on the DJI Air 3S for about 5 months now. As soon as it came out, I got it and I loved it. I still love it. I think it's a great drone, but being only able to shoot D-Log M on it is a little bit of a deal breaker, especially because I love to color grade my footage. I've shot some really cool shots with it and I love the color grades that I've got from it, but I can't replace true D-Log. So that's why the Mavic 3 Classic is back with me. I've also got a spare battery for the Mavic 3 Classic, and then of course, kind of got to bring the remote as well, so I've got that here as well. All of that packs up pretty nicely in my camera bag, which is great. And then that pretty much wraps up all of the main photography gear. I've got a handful of other things that I carry on me all of the time when I'm out shooting. First one is this little Sony, I think it's the B10M. I'm definitely butchering the name on this, but I'll put it in the links below. This microphone has been really, really cool to play around with. So first of all, it's a Sony microphone that uses the hot shoe. It's not a cold shoe on the bottom. So you just slide it onto the top of a compatible Sony camera, and then there's no wires. There's nothing, you don't have to charge it. You just slide it on the top, and then you've got a great sounding shotgun microphone. So this guy has been really, really cool. Next up on the list, AirPod Pro Mark IIs. I used to be really against AirPod Pros, not morally or anything, but I used to be against AirPod Pros because of how they sat in my ears. But turns out I was just using the really big cups, or whatever you'd call them, the really big inserts on them. Yeah, recently I picked these up and I have fallen in love with them. I've also got some ND filters as well. So I use one 95mm variable ND from Nissi. It's their true color range. The color that comes from these filters are incredible. All of my other ND filters gave a slight yellow or purple or green kind of tinge to the image. This one, absolutely nothing. So what I've done is I've just attached a handful of step down rings. So now if I unscrew the first one, which is a little stuck at the moment, there we go. If I unscrew the first one, we've got 82mm, and then I've got 67mm on the other end of this, which covers my 50mm, my 24mm, and my 20mm. My 24-70 and my 20mm. And then for the 70-200, I've got another step down ring, which isn't in its little bag at the moment. So hopefully that's floating around somewhere. And then I've also got ND filters for the Mavic 3 Classic. This is sort of a non-negotiable, even though you can adjust the aperture on the Mavic 3 Classic. Nothing can beat a good ND filter setup. I also carry everywhere with me an SSD. This is a T7 drive from Samsung. It's only a 1TB guy. Usually I leave an empty one in my bag all the time. So when I'm out and about, if I'm shooting with someone, they can quickly dump something on my SSD, and then we don't have to use Google Drive or Dropbox or WeTransfer when we get home. And then last but not least, we've got my phone of choice. This is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It takes incredible photos. It is the gray color, as you can see. And then I've also got my my little Apple Wallet on the back. So this just has my credit card, my health insurance card, and my driver's license in it. And that usually doesn't even live on the back of my phone, but I put it on the back of my phone for this video so I wouldn't lose it. It just lives in my backpack, and I'll show you exactly where in just a moment. And that's more or less everything in my camera bag. But there is one last thing I want to tell you about. Imagine easily being able to create photos or videos from anywhere in the world without having to leave your house or without even having to have a camera. Artlist's brand new AI photo and video generator allows you to do exactly that. All you have to do is simply choose the style you want your photo to be in. For example, let's choose photorealistic. Then type out your prompt in the box above. I'd suggest being as detailed as possible here, as this is going to lead to better results. You can then choose your image's aspect ratio and how many images you want, and then all you've got to do is hit generate. The results really do speak for themselves, and in my opinion, they're honestly a little bit too good. The wild part here is that you can also generate a video from the photo you just generated, or you can just generate a video by itself without the photo. And once again, the results here are pretty wild. And look, I know a lot of people don't like a load of AI coming into this industry. However, in my opinion, and the way I'm going to be using this is to be able to show clients and friends my vision, my creative vision for the projects I'm working on with them. So if you want to check out Artlist's brand new photo and video generator, you can do so using the link below, and you can also, using the link below, get 2 months of Artlist for free. Thank you so much, Artlist, for sponsoring today's video. And just before we continue, I want to let you know that nothing will ever replace the fun of going out to shoot, coming home with a load of bangers, and sitting down to edit them. Nothing will replace that. Hopefully, tools like these will just be able to enhance the creative vision, direction, and make things a whole lot easier. Now, speaking about going out to shoot, let's get this bag packed. All right, so here we are. This is my bag of choice. This is the Lowepro ProTactic 450 AW Mark II. This has been my camera bag for the last 4 years, and I have definitely used it. That's probably a good way to say how I've treated this bag. Anyway, let's get into how I pack this guy and what gear I'm taking. So keep in mind, I'm going to be shooting some YouTube videos, and I'm also going to be shooting a handful of street photos as well. So that's kind of gonna give you a little bit of an idea of what gear we're packing and why I'm packing it. So first things first, let's get the drone in there. Mavic 3 Classic. This guy lives right in there, nice and snug. I like to make these compartments as tight as possible. Now, this is purely just for photos and videos and B-roll for my YouTube videos and anything that goes out on Instagram as well. Now, of course, we are also going to need a spare battery, which may or may not, no, he will just live up there, and then the controller will live down in there. I don't like putting any kind of screens on the bottom of my bag, so that is a little bit of a, I don't know, gives me a little anxiety. But anyway, that is living down there for now. And now we can get into the camera gear itself. First up on the list is the A7C Mark II. I've also got a Manfrotto base plate on the bottom of this camera. And that's because right here, I am taking my Gitzo travel tripod with a Manfrotto ball head on the top of it. I have a Manfrotto ball head on this because I actually broke my Gitzo ball head. So anyway, that's a story for a different time. So that's my tripod out of the way. Obviously this doesn't fit in my camera bag, so this I'm just going to be taking separately. What I usually like to do is get my biggest lens, which will be for this trip, the 70 to 200, the 24 to 70, the 70 to 200 is not making it this time. And I'll actually put it on my camera body of choice. And then what I'll do, once that is on, I'll pop that up the top here, just like that. And that will live up there, taking up the most space. It's also the easiest access point for me. I can either go in the top here, or I can just open my bag, and I've already got one of the, probably the most versatile lenses already on my camera, and it's super easy to access. Now, speaking of other lenses, I have got the 20mm f1.8 because you guessed it, I'll be shooting some YouTube videos. So that needs its lens cap actually. Okay, for some reason I can't find his lens cap. So I'm gonna put this guy right in there and be extremely careful. Nothing's touching the glass. Happy days. Now, moving on to a lens that does have a lens cap on it, thank goodness, is the 50mm f1.8. This is the lens I'll more or less be shooting all of my street photos with, so he will also go in there nicely. And then we're pretty much getting more or less good to go. I've got a handful of other things. Of course, the Canon G11. I just want to take more photos with this guy. So while I have got him and I just adjusted this, while I'm going out to shoot with a good friend of mine, Luca, I might as well take this with me. So that will live right there. I'm also going to be taking the Sony microphone. So this can live right there. Super handy and so small. Absolutely love it. And then I've also got a handful of other things. I've got my SSD with a USB-C cable, because what's the use of an SSD without a USB-C cable? That can live just down there. My AirPod Pros, they can also live down there. My body cap and my lens cap from the Sigma 24-70 and the A7C Mark II, they can also live down there, a little bit of the general zone, if you will. We've then got the ND filters for the Mavic 3 Classic. We'll pop those in there. I've then, of course, got my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but this will be living in my pocket, so that doesn't go into the bag. I've also, by the way, if we take this out, if you can see right here, I've got an AirTag in there. I have an AirTag in every single bag that I have, because I'm not renowned for losing things, but I'd rather not take the risk. And then last but not least, I love to preach this in my videos, I have an extra SD card, which is extremely valuable. Now, I'll also be taking the battery in the Sony ZV-1, but right now, of course, that's filming this video. So that will also live probably here. But either way, extra SD card, let's pop that right there, and we are good to go. We have also got an SD card in this camera, and we'll probably be taking the one in the ZV-1 as well. And that is more or less my camera bag. Oh, classic me, by the way, my ND filter. The thing that I am renowned for is leaving ND filters at home. Do not leave your ND filters at home. You will definitely regret it. Anyway, that also needs to go in my bag, and it just lives in this little Sony microfiber pouch thing. I don't know where I got this from, but that'll just live with the drone ND filters. And that is what is in my camera bag for 2025.